Yeah, man. There was a thing that I had to learn in life. They had a guy, like when I was real religious, real into Christianity, into the white supremacist stuff. People would ask me, people would come up to me off the streets, and they would say, "What? Say, man, you gonna do this and that?" I mean, say you got. I mean, they want things to support their habits, and I'd be like, and one day, to make the long story short, the cut to get to the chase. Um, he said, "Yeah, even if they do got a drinking problem, and you feel like they have a drinking problem or something like that, don't ask the person or something like that what they gonna do with it. Like if you trying if a person asks you for something, they say, what you gonna do with it? When I do this for you, or do that. When I give it to you, or whatever." And I didn't understand it back then when he would say, "Why would you not want to question a person what they're gonna do with your resources once you release it to them?" You see what I'm saying? Why would you not want to know? Because you want to know, because people can be, and although it is true, you have a lot of people that's that's doing harmful things like drugs, and we know that that's was pretty much rampant, running very high in our community, because the so-called white men, they put that stuff in our community, right? Um, he told me that, he said, you don't ask a person if they ask you for something. Don't ask them what they're gonna do with it. Just do it, and whatever they do, let it be on them. Now, to this day, that don't sit well with me. You see what I'm saying? Because at the same time, let me just address that. You do want to know who are you giving your resources to, right? It's not that you don't want to release the certain resources to them or something. It's like somebody say, "Hey, I need a pair of pants," and they say, "Why do you need a pair of pants?" And the other person may say, "Well, why is he asking me what I'm gonna do with a pair of pants? I'm gonna wear the shit." You see what I'm saying? So, in essence, now it's two things that can be going on. Number one, it depends on who the person is. Number two, it could be somebody on the streets wanting to get a pair of pants to go and because they can, quote unquote, sell the pants and probably get money for them. Because there's all kind of scamming going on out there. And this is not to degrade or downgrade my people or nothing like that. I'm just saying these things because, let's say you give this person the resources that they want, and they take the resources that you give them, and they go out and they do something drastic, or something crazy, and they end up losing their life. Something happened, and then you're gonna think about that day. This is just an example, hypothetical. You gonna think about, you know what? I really feel guilty. I feel like I took part in that. Why? Because I was kind enough is to give them the resources, so they may want to go and get them some food. They probably wanted to go and get them some, just to get up on their feet or something like that. But I'm thinking that's what they're doing now. They took the resources I gave them and went and bought, or went and did this with it. Now it got them killed. Now you got to sit here and live with the rest of your life knowing that, and it's not an excuse. Or I'm trying to make up an excuse not to be helpful or something like that. It's just that you don't want to invest your resources into a person and knowing it's a waste of time, when you can take and actually go and give it to the other brother or sister in the black community or African American community that need it, versus this person gonna take it and gonna use it for something to be destructive with, to themselves and to their family. You see what I'm saying? So you think about, you kind of like, nah, that's how you looking at it. So when now on the flip side, if a person asks me what you going to do with this here, um, if they know you and you lived in the house with them, then they don't have to ask you what you're going to do or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or if I see something that catch my eye or whatever, then if it interests me, then I get it. You see what I'm saying? So um, when people ask, it depends on how well the person know you and things of that nature. Now they probably need to know. Now, if they are on a budget or something like that, if you feel like a person is on a budget, now that may be another reason why they may ask that question or say something like, "Well, what you gonna do with this? What you gonna do with it? Uh, uh, what you gonna get, or what you gonna get, or whatever," because they thinking about a budget, right? Maybe that's what I'm thinking too. You see what I'm saying? They probably thinking about a budget. They probably thinking about, okay, oh well, we got, it's hard times. We got to spend within our means, or we got to go within our means, or we got to do this within our means, or something like that. So that's understandable to a certain degree. You see what I'm saying? It's understandable. That's understandable because, yeah, that's understandable. But sometimes it's hard to even, you know what I'm saying, when you battling with yourself, and you struggling like, damn man, that's what I really want that, or I really want this, or I really want that, but I don't know yet. I just don't want to just actually say anything like that because you feel like it may affect it may affect them to where they'll be reluctant about probably releasing certain resources to that person or something like that. But I understand that people is on a budget and people are trying to use their resources wisely. I understand that, that's understandable. Um, and it can be difficult trying to understand that. Not try to understand that, but it can be difficult is to respect that situation. You know what I'm saying? But let's go back to our original. If a person say, or if somebody come, like people walk up to me and they say, I need, well, I'm not going to say I need, I'm going to say, oh, they'll walk up to you or whatever. And I'm trying to like put it into words where it won't feel that I'm being overly casual or under whatever. But let's just say shorten, cutting to the chase to shorten it. You are thinking about that person's well-being, and it's gonna put a concern in your heart and in your spirit, like, okay, we don't have no resources. I ain't got time to be wasting resources. And I'm thinking that they're going to do something good with the resources I gave them, but they in essence going to do something crazy, or I find out that they trying to put somebody else's life in danger or something like that. Then I can understand our people being reluctant about doing that, because as a so-called African American person, man, that came up hard, we understand that more than European or Caucasian people. We understand it more. They don't get that. It can't resonate with them because they don't know what it's like. Is to say, oh, I'm on a budget. Most of them don't, because they control the world. If you are the government of this world, right, and you control this whole world, and you are, or whatever, you own everything, or whatever, then you don't have to worry about a budget. If you have the Jewish man owning the banks, they don't have to be like, well, I got a budget. I don't want to be doing, I can't be spending all of that. I can't be doing this, or I can't be doing that because, man, we on a tight budget. We got this whole month to go out. What that sound like? Black community shit, right? Hispanic and Native American. We had to go light on soap, washing powder, all that shit. We had to go light on that shit because we know once we got into the middle of the month, we know if we didn't use what we did wisely, we know that our ass was gonna starve. We was gonna be starved out. And let me tell you, we was born into the shit. We was born into it. We know what that shit feels like. It's not to have anything. So, and maybe that probably may cause a lot of us contribute to a lot of us of being selfish. Because once you get something, hold on, wait a minute. Okay, there was a car passed by, and I want to make sure we can get that music in there. It's just like a woman. She's 30 years old. She been dating men from her teens all throughout her 20s, early 30s. Now she in her late 30s. And once she get a good man in her life, it will be hard for her, no matter what that man does to her, is to let him go. Because it's so hard to keep one. And that's probably why they do what they do. You see what I'm saying? That's probably why they do what they do. You know? Yeah, that's probably why. And you looking at it like that's why they hold on, even though they feel like the man abusing them, and they'll take it for love because they never known what it felt like to be disciplined by a real father, a real man. So they say, well, why is she still with this man? Because I'm trying to compare it. She so used to having men abusing her, and she feel like this man was good, and it's hard for her to let this person go because she wasn't able to keep it. They don't come around too easy. And so when people get money, or when we have certain things in our possessions or something like that, I guess that's what I'm trying to put it into play, where the trait, you can be. They say it's how you raise. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard for you is to share it with anybody because you're so skeptical, because our people has been so used to being in a position of powerless. You see what I'm saying? Until it's like it's a power over time that our people got drunk off of. And once you get drunk off of that poverty power that they use and put us in slavery when they stripped our people of their resources, then our people as took and drunk off of that poverty power, which means we had gotten put into a position to where now we got to rely upon the so-called white man, the system, and all of that, because we not in control of nothing. You see what I'm saying? Now when they beat us, or when they beat our people and hit them with the blackjack or whatever, shoot our people down with the guns and all that type of stuff, we gotten drunk. We sipped off of that Babylon, that American cup, until now our thinking, it started to transpire. The old thinking expired. The old way, the original way, it just got damaged and it got destroyed. And when it got completely destroyed out of our brain, now, in our essence, now our brain is just messed up. It's like we went into the military and got messed up. Now we're getting drunk and we're feeding off of these negative things that they feeding us, and they fed it to us for so long until now they have convinced us to believe that abuse is okay. That's the reason why a lot of our people cater to the so-called white man and rely upon him for everything. They defend for him. You see Uncle Tom, you see what they call house niggas and all that kind of stuff, taking up for the white man, mistreating their own people for these people or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And that's how I believe that might be how a lot of these things occur, and these things started to develop in our African American community. And that's why we're not close to each other no more. We looking at each other a certain way. It's because we have been destroyed mentally. That's why the Bible says that he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So that's why people come, this is where these curses come in at, to where even though I may say, oh, well, somebody may look at me and say, well, Peter is Ray, Brother Ray is good hearted or whatever. He'll give people his last resources and stuff like that. But in reality, that may be true, but at the same time, of course it's in you. It's naturally in our DNA is to be kind. But remember, I talked about a system that's being put in place that we sipped off of this wine doctrine of Esau, the so-called white man. And we got drunk off of that power. And once we got drunk, we became intoxicated. Intoxicated means you are out of your mind and you can't even understand because you are so clogged up with a bunch of dirt that they found a way and hijacked our minds. The Esau found a way is to hijack our mind. The so-called white man found a way is to hijack our mind. And they succeeded at hijacking our mind. And when you look at us, we are infected with this virus called conditioning into being tight, stingy, selfish, all of these things. That's the slave master's virus that had affected us. That's what's going on. So really, I had to sit down and analyze that. You see what I'm saying? Well, why do we, this is what's going on in our community. Because if you look at the the so-called white community, Caucasian community, you look at the Asian, the Filipino, the Japanese, the Saudi Arabian community, you look at Chinese community, you look at Asian communities and stuff like that. It ain't like that amongst their community because they're so used to having like a lot of people that come up and say, well, the white man took me in, or the so-called white woman took me in, my family and my kids in, when my own people didn't do it for me. No, let me tell you what's going on. That's Stockholm slave syndrome, because they have always have been, so-called white people have always have been in a position is to help themselves and do all of that because they hold and they forefathers and foremothers raped and robbed and murdered and stole the resources of black people, of our people. And you see what I'm saying? And then they put us in this poverty position